Hi guys. I don't have my intro today. It disappeared or something. I don't see it. I had it over here. Well, good morning, afternoon, or good evening, and good night. Let's just check. Intro today. It just check. Okay, let's put this over here. Let's get this. How's everybody doing? I need to grab the chat room. Oh. It's going to take me just a second here. Pop that out. Put that over there. And I need to take a share link to add to the here, I'll let you watch this instead of my
There's
intro.
Two different types of hologram that we're going to be making. Quiet please everybody, we're going to go for take now. Here we go, and action.
Even now, as the war is raging, we continue the digital transformation of our state.
We need to use next generation technologies. We need to make it feel like he's more in the room.
I don't think that I ever seen this technology before.
Hi, Sputsy. I bet Sputsy beats me to it.
My question to you.
She's so on top of things. I love her. She's a good girl.
There's two different types of hologram that we're going to be
She's
making.
so helpful.
Quiet please everybody, we're going to go for take now.
And people are
Here we go.
helpful for each other. Mine just takes so long. So we're not in a big fat World War III yet. That's good, eh? We're not dead yet. So what do? We just keep living for Christ, don't we? Yeah. Because that's what we're here for. For His purposes. Look at there. She already got it up there. Good job. Good job, Sputsy. Thank you so much. What's that doing? I need my glasses, man. I got another, when I go yesterday, another maybe 9 days till I get my glasses. But they're ordered and all that. They were like, this is a lot of points. Your eyes have changed a lot of points. And we want to, like, we're just going to give you partially what, you need for your eyes to be nice and clear. I'm like, no, I think I need it all at once because I can't afford lenses twice. I mean, they did the same thing to my daughter, and I was like, is that a thing? I mean, I've had glasses all my life. Is that a thing? I remember getting headaches when I was a kid. My parents couldn't afford to do that, even if it was a thing back then. I remember getting headaches, and I got crappy eyes, man. I'm used to it. Like, if I had to go without my glasses all day, because I lost them or something, which I can't do because I'm so freaking blind. Sorry, I'm unwinding my thing because I've dropped it like 5 times. I'm afraid I'm going to break it. Okay, there you go. Woohoo! So we're all up in the United States today. We've got my flag blankie out. I got my 1776 shirt on. Because you never know what we're about to go into today. Alright, I got the chat up right here. Almost ready, guys. Sorry about that. So, yesterday. Let's talk about yesterday, because I didn't do a video yesterday. You all are up on the news, I'm sure. But yesterday there was a bunch of stuff about the hokey pokey. and how if you took the hokey pokey, if you did the hokey pokey, then you might have to turn yourself around. But you can't. You can't go backwards. You've had the hokey pokey. And they knew. They knew what was going to happen. And they went forward with it anyway. Now they're being questioned, and they're not coming to the stand to question, to get their questions. And this was from the EU, had a committee. Christine Anderson, I put a picture of her up here. We'll show you a thing or two. I'm going to show you what Fox News said. But other than that, I'm not allowed to touch it because the people who are in charge are the WHO. And they say what you're allowed to say and not say. And I'm not sure what they're saying today because it's coming out that they went along with the plan at the WHO, which I saw clearly with my own eyes as the guy hides the papers, the leader of the WHO hides the papers in his pocket, looking around and see if the cameras are catching him doing it, shoving things into his folder and looking around, all, paranoid that somebody's going to find out he knows something that he's hiding. And I'm telling you, if you saw that, I wish I could find it now, but it was on C-SPAN. At one of the very first meetings that they had when the what was coming out. And I hate talking like that. I hate saying things like code words or whatever. So, as soon as they bring forth that they've changed the rules, somebody let me know. Because we're going to have a talk. We're going to have a long talk. And there's going to be videos. And people are going to be revealing things. And I don't know why my chat room's not working, Sputsy. I'm glad you typed something in there because now I know my chat room's not working. Oh, and I did an update on my OBS. Let's see. Oh, look at this. It's not working either. Whoops. Wait a minute. I was watching Pastor Paul. And then Heidi slips in right here. And we're all like, oh, you look different, Pastor Paul. Oh, look. Pastor Paul turned pretty. I love it watching that. But she just got some new blankets in. I like making blankets for people that are sick. I'm trying to find the chat room over here. There we go. Okay, yeah. Well, there's Apple. Maybe it works if I pop it out again. There we go. It wasn't working there for a minute. Yeah, this blanket though, I'm gonna have to move it because my mouse works real good on the couch. Alright, let's get this in order before we start. So you saw the Elon Musk thing, or not Elon Musk, the Zelensky guy. What's his name? Zelensky. They have a way of making him into a hologram, so really, how do we know? How do we know that who we're seeing is the real thing? How you doing? Buenos dias. I am... see. I do know that question. Because I took a little Spanish, but not a lot. I don't know a whole ton. I'd like to learn more. They say if you know 2 or 3 languages, which I know some sign language, that you're using a lot of your brain. Which I could use more of. So, Russia and China and Iran, they're saying that a unipolar world order. Iran has indicated it's willing to pursue stronger relationships with China and Russia to oppose the U.S.-led world order. So they're all saying United States and NATO, etc., are, you got me talking like Spanish now, etc., that we're the ones leading the New World Order, and they're against it, and that's what this struggle is, you know. Boom, boom, boom. So when they bumped fists, maybe it's like, because Saudi Arabia, Biden thought that Saudi Arabia was going to give us some good oil monies and stuff, and they bumped fists, but maybe that just means I'm up against you, you know, now, because it's falling apart. It's nation against nation, but nations against nations, and you got the axis of evil, China, Russia, and Iran. They're getting ready to do some exercises in the Indian Ocean. Well, NATO, United States, they're getting ready to do some in I think the Pacific Ocean. Oh, and there's a video on here. I'm going to put it in the, I have to be careful because she's like naked. Okay, I can pause it, right? Okay. Yeah, good. Okay. So they're fighting and everything, and her skirt comes up, so I can't really show it to you, but I'll put it over here and you can watch it on your own. But they're fighting in the middle of Walmart, and I got to thinking about this. You know, they make you go down these aisles with the cameras and the pay for it yourself, and there's all these thefts going on at Walmart, and I don't even see cops out there anymore at the one I'm at. And they're like, a girl put the pants on right in front of people, not that she took her other ones off, she put them on over top, and then went in the bathroom. And then the guy at the thing was like, somebody just stole a pair of sunglasses. So there's an increase in theft, and I don't think they're doing anything about it. I think they're letting it happen because, I don't know, I could be wrong. Maybe they can't afford cops now. I mean, because the price of everything's going up. I don't know, but something's up. Where in California, they're like allowing them. It was called safety. Something like that. And they were like, we're not going to put in prison these people that do these certain things. One of them, I think, was second-degree murder. Like, or there was going to be no bail. There was something to it where they were like allowing some, you know, things that are against the law to just go on. And I think it's because they need the chaos in order to bring in the control, because no one's going to be like, oh, you're doing such a good job of keeping the thievery down that we really don't want robots. Like, they need us to beg for it. They need us to want more cameras, more control. And they don't want to pay employees anymore. They want everything to be automated. So it'll start off like they're going to shut down. Like at Lowe's, there was no one open. No of the aisles for paying for your stuff unless you went down the aisle. Or you want to go all the way to the end of the freaking Lowe's is, you know, a long walk. So I think they're just trying their best to bring in the control. And I'm noticing more cameras go up. Pay attention to what's what in your town. Watch for new cameras going up, and more control. And say something, you know, tell someone like, oh wow, look at that. You notice that? China, China, China on everything you buy. That's because I believe that the United States has been sold out. I think that we're to come down and everyone else rise up to the middle line so that money is all one price, and they have to bring Europe down, which they're doing. This winter is going to be hell, you know, on them and maybe on us too. I mean, I can't afford a $500 a month electric or gas bill, you know, and the price of gasoline's going to go up. It's going to get so nuts, you guys. They're just squeezing us all down to nothingness, and we're not going to be happy like Klaus Schwab says. Okay, this is a really good interview, so let's listen to Tucker. I'm not going to, after this, his perspective on this, I'm not going to say any more about the you know what. You can watch my screen as I flip through. I'll go slowly. If there's something that I'll, you know, go like this or something. And you can like be like, okay, I need to go watch. She's saying I need to go watch that one right there. Okay? But other than that, I can't talk about the you know what yet.
Well, even the zombies in Brookline aren't defending Tony Fauci anymore. He's been unmasked as the sinister buffoon he is. But it wasn't that long ago he was in charge of everything. And when he was in charge of everything, he told us repeatedly that if you get the COVID vaccine, you're not going to get COVID, period. We know that. And we're quoting, "You become a dead end for the virus," said Tony Fauci. And so widely accepted was that statement that Twitter banned anyone who disagreed with it or even questioned it as part of its COVID misinformation policy. But it soon became clear that that itself was misinformation because, of course, you can get COVID and pass it on if you've had the shot. And in fact, that shouldn't be surprising because Pfizer, which made the vaccine, never even tested to see if it prevented the transmission of COVID. What? You'd think they would know that since Tony Fauci and everyone in the U.S. government and everyone at your kid's school and everyone on television and Morning Joe and all the rest of them knew for a fact, but Pfizer didn't even know. And we know that because Pfizer executive Janine Small answered questions on Monday at the European Parliament, and here's how it went.
Was the Pfizer COVID vaccine tested on stopping the transmission of the virus before it entered the market? If not, please say it clearly. If yes, are you willing to share the data with this committee? And I really want a straight answer, yes or no, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Regarding the question around, did we know about stopping immunisation before it's entered the market? No. We had to really move at the speed of science to really understand what is taking place in the market.
Oh, the speed of science! That's the speed at which you're moving too fast to do science. And you just sort of hope for the best and yell at anyone who disagrees with your preferred and hoped for outcome. The speed of science.
Silence.
Rob Rose is the man you just saw on tape. He's a conservative member of the European Parliament. He's from the Netherlands, and we are grateful to have him on tonight. Rob, thanks so much for coming on. Did you know the answer to that question when you asked it, and were you shocked by what she said?
I didn't do that.
Well, good evening, Tucker. It really was a special moment. For the first time, Pfizer admitted that the vaccine was not tested on stopping the transmission of the virus when it entered the market. And this has massive implications. Governments pushed millions of people worldwide to get vaccinated by telling them, telling you to do it for your grandmother. And they tricked perfectly healthy young people into taking this jab using false arguments. And they used big words such as antisocial to sow an immense hatred against people who refuse to comply with the government's wishes. And even worse, many governments, including mine, actually introduced so-called COVID passports. These passports made access to parts of society conditional. Those who did not wish to get vaccinated lost that access. not being able to visit a restaurant or a gym, all in the name of public health.
Keep your job.
Our governments love to talk about institutional discrimination, but this was real institutional discrimination.
Yes.
In many countries, like the US and Italy, vaccine mandates were introduced for certain professions. Many people lost their job, their livelihood, their business, because they stood by their principles. Austria even had a lockdown for the unvaccinated because of this reason. The government literally imprisoned people within their own homes. All of this was based on the idea that vaccination helps prevent the spread of the virus. Otherwise, why should people out of society? But this has now proven to be a big lie. Even the president of for International Development Market of Pfizer now admits that there was no scientific basis to say vaccination would stop the transmission of the virus. And I find this one of the biggest scandals of our time. The politicians responsible for this will be angry that people are looking back at this time, but I won't forget what they did to millions of people. And if we are a democracy, we should have accountability, and that's what I'm calling for.
Yes. If we are a democracy, and by the way, Pfizer knew this, none of its executives bothered to correct these politicians, and yet no Pfizer executive has been charged with the crime they committed, which is pretty unbelievable. I wish we had more politicians like you in Washington. Rob Rose, thank you for coming on tonight. We are really grateful.
Rose.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
have
Rob
a good evening.
Rose. And thank you, Tucker Carlson. Heroes, heroes, heroes. So, there you have it. That right there is amazing interview, says really all of it. And then from the point of the actual companies that did this, whoever was involved in it should be thoroughly investigated, whether they knew or not, and went forward with it. Because who's always saying, if you know something, say something? And they all knew, and they didn't say anything. And then they silenced the people that did want to say something. People are going to be held accountable. I don't care if it doesn't happen on this earth or not. It's going to happen. God will judge. Look at this grandma. She's probably had the hokey pokey. And she's flipping herself around because I can't even say. Ooh, wait till we can all talk. Ooh, just wait. All right, these are cars that you can fly. And I'm not for that. Because if you have any control over that and you're over top of my head, you know, I think it's automated, but then still, like, they'll just be like, oh, the automation wore out button and it just crashed. Nobody's really responsible. I guess the company would be responsible. I still don't want anything like that over top of my head. Okay, I have to go flip by this because that girl's naked. Why don't people wear underwear? Come on, man. Wear a pair of underwear. Oh my God. If you aren't wearing underwear, somebody starts fighting you in the middle of Walmart and you fall down and you have to turn over, you're going to show everything if you ain't got no underwear on. What if you're in a car accident and they have to pull you out of the car and you ain't got no underwear on? They got the jaws of life out. I mean, you might be, flashing everybody. I'm just saying. That's kind of odd. I never thought people went without underwear. I guess I'm a little shaded or something. I'm a little protected, I guess. All right, this is a bodybuilder who incinerated his ex-wife in his backyard. We got some real psychopaths going on out here. A Florida man is accused of killing his ex-wife when she stopped by his house to pick up some of her belongings, then incinerating her body after taking back her wedding band and engagement ring, according to the feds. Days later, detectives say they found a human jawbone with a tooth still attached in a burn pile on his 5-acre property. The gruesome new details are revealed in a criminal complaint unsealed Tuesday in Tampa federal court. Ian Christopher Bannock, that's this guy's name, with possession of 13 unregistered firearm silencers. He is 43. He was arraigned Monday on first-degree murder charges in the death of Katie Bannock, 39, with charges including failure to report a death to the medical examiner and 12 counts of possession of controlled substances without a prescription, a cache of steroids, because he's a bodybuilder. Claims to be an ex-Marine. Let's see. The case against Bannock can be traced back to Monday, September 30th, when a friend of Katie's reported her missing. Early in the month, Katie had applied for and received a restraining order against him for abusing one of their 2 children. He was arrested on charges of domestic battery by strangulation and released the same day, $25,000 bond. They didn't pursue the case and charges were dropped. Oh, now she's dead and the kids don't have their mama. Here is exhibit. According to the sheriff's office, they applied for a warrant. Exhibit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Oh, these are the silencers. A chemical that reacts to the presence of blood by glowing blue. Bannock's vehicle trunk glowed blue after they applied the luminol. A hallway connecting the garage with the house foyer showed signs of physical struggle. Probably blood. Saw exposed screws where the broken mirror had once been mounted. Blood in the hallway glowed blue. The wall adjacent to the office and the office door frame also reacted to the luminol. 3 different walls. Yep, going wall to wall with the blood. So, at least he's locked up. There's some serial killers that are still on the loose. Like, I think that one in San Francisco still is. The serial killer. I heard of another one today on Pastor Paul's show. I didn't get to watch his whole show, but I did get to hear that part. Something about a hospital, a nurse or something. I don't think I have that one, but if I come to it, I'll still play it for you. Turkey, President Erdogan is now discussing relations with Kazakhstan. Remember I told you I hadn't heard anything back from Kazakhstan? What you guys saying over here? From the moon and back. I love you too, Apple. Conians. Oh, I remember who you're talking about. Okay. Shadow Feather. Good to see you. Good morning. Yeah, so Kazakhstan. Remember the Chinese went in there. The, was it the Russians that pulled out? Because they got so much on their plate with, the thing of Ukraine was getting ready to start. but Kazakhstan was trying to overthrow their government. You remember that? And they had their leaders in the back of a truck, and they were like, you know, kind of punishing them and, you know, reprimanding them for trying to, I don't know, something, get them into the war with Ukraine, maybe? I don't know. They got a bunch of Chechens, though. A whole slew of Chechens. Like the whole Chechen army is about to help Russia in Ukraine. This thing is going to go sky high, and I hope it doesn't go nuclear, because meddling countries getting in that business and them seeing us as the New World Order, the head of the snake with Iran. You know how Iran calls us Satan number 1 and Israel Satan number 2. But Israel and Lebanon, that was something yesterday that was besides the hokey pokey and the extra missiles going off in Ukraine. Was Lebanon and Israel had an agreement with something to do with the maritime and the oil over there. And then I was listening to Christopher Green this morning. I don't know if you guys know him. AMT TV. He sells a lot of crypto and stuff, which I can't stand. All the selling of the gold and the selling of the crypto. I mean, we are going to be throwing our gold and silver in the streets in the Armageddon. So I don't know what to tell you about like investments or whatever, but I can tell you this. There is going to be a one world government, a one world money, which will probably most likely and 99% chance that it's going to be crypto and digital and all that. Doing away with paper money and the ability to buy from your neighbor or anything like that. Or like say you're like yesterday, I had to write a check because I had to pay for my glasses, my daughter's glasses, and there's like a limit. So I went over my limit and I had all these groceries. I'm like, what am I going to do? Oh, I got a check. How long has it been since you guys wrote a check? I still have to write a check for my water bill. Anyway, I just went down a whole rabbit hole there. But yeah, Kazakhstan is joining up with Turkey. This is Erdogan speaking about that he signed several agreements. I don't know what the agreements were for, or even if we get to know what that's about. But China's involved because Russia went in to make Kazakhstan stable again because the people had revolted against their government. The internet went down right as China was coming in to bring in the control. And then I never heard another peep about any more revolting. So they've got them in order, and now they're making deals with Turkey. So you tell me what's going on. I have no idea. Like everybody's against everybody, it seems. The wars, the rumors of wars are peaking. And the big three, Russia, China, Iran, doing drills in the ocean, exercises, whatever you want to call them, and then us at the same time. And they're like, no, you can't do it at the same time as us. You know, they're like fighting about it.
All right.
This is just a reminder that in 1 year from, I guess, Rosh Hashanah, which is their new year, these heifers are going to be ready. These for the third temple, and they're saying we don't have to have a temple. This guy here on the right here, this guy with the beard, he's telling this guy, he must be a priest, because he's saying, I will do your sacrifice for you. I can't wait to do your sacrifice for you. Just come to Israel and I'll do your sacrifice for you. Okay, well, Jesus did the final sacrifice. There's no more sacrifices necessary. So they're all excited about doing these sacrifices and everything. And they're ready. And the heifers are going to be ready to cleanse the temple, to cleanse the artifacts like the menorah and the shewbread table and the altar and the incense and the Ark of the Covenant, which they'll probably have to make a replica, because if the guy that came, I think he's dead now, but he was in Middle Tennessee. He's got a museum there. He has pieces of the Ark that Noah built, of the wood. What's the name of that wood? Who knows the name of the wood in the chat room? I might think of it. But yeah, they're ready to set up the temple. And that's going to be like in a year that they'll be able to do that. So, and it only takes them 6 months. So we're on the precipice, guys, and it doesn't have to be built for Jesus to return. It just has to be there at the midpoint of the Great Tribulation, where it says the worshipers of God will stand in the temple of God, claiming that he is God, and then there'll be the abomination of desolation. That's at the halfway mark. So as long as they have the temple built in the halfway point of the Great Tribulation, Scripture, Jesus could come at any time, is what I'm saying. All right, this is just Joe Biden talking about. Here, I'll just play a little clip.
They thrive on chaos, the willingness to engage in political violence.
See, he's like describing us, and this is that one with the red background and everything. He's describing people that want to make America great again. But he's actually, this video is of Black Lives Matter and Antifa.
It's fatal to democracy. More and more talk about violence as an acceptable political tool in this country. There is no place for political violence in America. Period. None. Ever.
Like, wait a minute.
Trump and the MAGA Republicans representing extremism.
So they're the extremists as far as violence goes. And then this guy here, he's like a hero, man. Listen to this guy. I won't play the whole thing. It's too.
My grandparents are black. All 8 of my great-great-grandparents, all 16 of my great-greats. On my mother's side, my ancestors were into hotels, and I fly commercially, and I walk into retail establishments, and I order food in restaurants. I go wherever I want, whenever I want. I am treated with kindness, dignity, and respect, literally from coast to coast. I have 3 children. They are not oppressed either, although they are victims. I've taught my children they are victims of 3 things: their own ignorance, their own laziness, and their own poor decision making. That is all. My children.
He's talking about critical race theory and all this that they're teaching the kids, and all this crap that they're teaching kids in school, and how they're teaching them to be victims and all this nonsense. And look here, California just made it legal for physicians, made it illegal for physicians to disagree with politicians. So politicians can now tell you what science is instead of, doctors. Doctors just are going to have to go by the computer. Whatever the AI tells them to say, this person gets this treatment, that person gets that treatment for the same thing, because that person's got a social credit score that's way up here. That one's way down there. So, here's your treatment and here's your treatment. And then the doctor's just going to be like figuring it out, like, wait a minute. The computer just told me to do the same thing for the same symptoms. Why is this one getting good treatment? And will they ask that question, or will they just go with the flow like they did with the other stuff? And dang, we are in clown freaking world here. Wait till you guys see this. You're gonna be mad the rest of the day over this.
Either of you have any questions for Miss Pentecost?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you like her eyeshadow. That's great. Yeah. Yeah, maybe she'll let you borrow it. When you're older, when you're allowed to wear makeup. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Well, one of the things I think is great about Miss Pentecost is she reminds us that we follow a God who calls us to not conform to things of this world. That we're supposed to be transformed by the renewal of our minds. And that means that what I think today may have to change tomorrow if I continue to renew my mind. And it's so cool that we serve a God that calls us to continue to grow and continue to change into something new, and to not be bound by the ways that the world. If you have any questions for Miss Pentecost?
Grooming, you know, this is insane, because the religious person who's supposed to be someone you're supposed to be able to look up to, don't ever do that. Don't ever put pastors on a pedestal, okay? Because they're human too. But this guy is satanic. He's telling these girls that, aren't you supposed to be, renewing of your mind? You're supposed to change. Maybe you think you're a girl right now, but you could be a boy, like this man here. What do you think of her? Like, I like your eyeshadow. Well, what's that saying? You're saying it's okay for him to wear eyeshadow, and it's a man. They could tell it's a man. They were probably prepped a little bit before they got up there to treat people with love, which you are supposed to treat people with love. But those girls, when they get older, they'll probably be like, lovingly, I'm going to say, you need a mental hospital. That's what I should have said when I was 12 or whatever, however old they are. You need a mental hospital, sir, ma'am, whatever you are. And what are you doing? Grooming children. Like, if them children could just come back in that moment, like time travel, and tell themselves what to say, they'd probably get up and start punching him in the somethings. Yeah, it wasn't obsidian. What was it? Oh. Now you got me. I gotta find out. Ark made of wood. Noah. Come on. Wow. Nice. Mad. I put mad. Noah's Ark made of wood type. Maybe it'll come up. What type of wood? Gopher wood. That's it. Alright. I'm about to get sidetracked down the Noah thing. Okay, Europe entered a new hokey pokey wave, which could be complicated by a resurgence of the flu. So there's a big long thing about that. U.S. to reevaluate ties with Saudi Arabia. Okay, yeah, this is important, because wars. This is what I was going to tell you about Christopher Green. What he kind of taught me today. That all wars, this is what he said, all wars have started over, do you know what? Clue, Saudi Arabia. If you know the answer to this question, put it in the chat room. Tensions are rising between U.S. and Saudi Arabia. The Biden administration says it's reevaluating its ties with Riyadh. See the fist bump? Means nothing. Washington's angry over Riyadh's oil policy. Key Congress members are calling on Washington to freeze its cooperation with Riyadh. That would also arm sales to Saudi Arabia. Riyadh is a key member of OPEC. I think it's only 2% of the oil, though. The organization has decided to cut oil production by 2 million with an M barrels per day. Yeah, 2% of the global oil supply is Saudi Arabia. The decision has angered the United States. The cut will cause a gas price hike that would hurt President Biden's midterm elections. The decision will also help Russia. Moscow's at loggerheads with the West over Ukraine. The cut in oil production has pushed up prices. Higher prices will help Moscow generate more revenues from its oil sales. So, what did you guys say? Oil? Yeah, oil and all energy. So energy, we got natural gas, and that's going to cause Europe to freeze this winter. And we're looking at higher prices because of the oil and everything with the Nord Stream and everything, for the prices to go up probably to $7 a gallon by spring. That's my guess. I'd even push to say $7.50. And the other day when I went out, diesel was at $5.09 a gallon. That's bad. Right here, this, look at what this says. Let's see if I can use the scroll in button. Well, this form of slavery is essential to maintain some measure of social order, peace, and tranquility for the ruling upper class. So, this is an excerpt from Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. It's a book. But there was something else. I'm just going to read this. The quality of education given to the lower class must be of the poorest sort. So they don't want us to be smart. So that the moat of ignorance, isolating the inferior class from the superior class, is and remains incomprehensible to the inferior class. With such an initial handicap, even bright lower class individuals have little, if any, hope of extricating themselves from their assigned lot in life. This form of slavery is essential to maintain some measure of social order, peace, and tranquility for the ruling upper class. I mean, what a bunch of scumbags. These Rockefellers and New World Order types. They are the smart ones. Well, guess what? God says, thinking that you're wise, you've become fools. Because now you think you're the gods. You think you've got the knowledge and everything. Just like Satan. Well, they think they're enlightened. They think that they're like so in on the mysteries and everything. And the adrenochrome, so they can have longer life or prettier skin or whatever. But they're full of demons. And that's like the most foolish that you could be. I mean, demons might be somewhat smart, but they'd have the same tricks over and over for millennial after, you know. I think I just lost my place. 1 second. Just scroll on down. I need to move faster. Because there's just a lot. This is the truck that they say blew up that bridge the other day. But you can't tell that. Oh, this is the truck. Look here, it's a truck. We're opening the back. We're not showing you anything. It was inspected. This is the truck that blew up the bridge. Yeah, right. That bridge was not blown up by anything that would fit in a semi-truck like that. That was a missile, and it came out, and I believe it was real. You guys can think what you want. Some people think it was fake. I think it was real. I think they've got weapons that did that, and you can't convince me. Okay, this was the other weirdo thing that happened. I don't know if it's the one that Pastor Paul was talking about. His was something about a hospital or something. So, 2 women killed, chopped up, cooked, and eaten in suspected sacrifice as man arrested. The families of the women were forced to try and identify the mutilated body parts recovered from a pit as police reveal details of the grisly murders. 2 women have been killed, their bodies chopped up, cooked, and eaten in a suspected human sacrifice, police fear. The Indian state of Kerala have arrested 3 people for the alleged double murder. The victims, identified as Padmam and Rosili, were said to have been put to death to settle financial issues, to bring prosperity to their lives. Police say the accused are Beghaval Singh, who described himself as an aardvark? No, not an aardvark. An Ayurvedic. It's a healer. His wife, Lalia, and occult practitioner, Muhammad Shafi. They remain under arrest and custody and have confessed to the crime, reports state, with an investigation underway. That's Muhammad Shafi. And they buried him. There was blood splattered on the walls of the property and the floor as part of a black magic ritual, it's claimed. Padmam, 57, came from Dharmapuram district and lived in Kochi, while Rosili, 49, lived in the town of Kaladi. Padmam's son raised the alarm in September, saying his mother was missing, and it sparked a hunt. Kochi City Police Commissioner Nagarju Chakilam spoke at a press conference and said Shafi was the main conspirator behind the murders. He also accused him of being a psychopath and a pervert. He severely tortured the victims before killing them. The murders took place over 4 months. What, they tortured him for 4 months? Jeez, they mutilated him. And they couldn't really... The women's families were forced to identify the mutilated body parts recovered from the pit, but were unable to successfully because they'd been tortured for 4 months. Jeez. Human sacrifice is back. Tragic Padmam, the officer had her hands and legs tied and her breasts cut open. Ew. In the attack. So-called black magic is still practiced in some parts of India where people believe the rituals could bring prosperity. They also claim it can help women bear children and cure illnesses. We're psychopaths. I can tell you it's a very strange murder case. We're trying to confirm when exactly did each murder happen and if there have been more victims. Gross. So that's your gnarly news for the day of that part. So, okay, so the nuclear exercises next week for NATO. That was 8 hours ago. Okay,
As transgender...
This lady's talking about transgender and that there has been a 5-fold increase in people getting transgender hormones, like, and just changing their sexes. A 5-fold increase, you guys. All wars are started over human stupidity. Yes. So yeah, it's getting really crazy out there. Perry Stone is saying the world as we knew it is over. So I need to go watch that. Turns out, oh, I can't read this. I can read this. This is a person's opinion, and he says, I took the hokey pokey to save other people, and I found out it was a farce, and I think I owe a lot of people an apology. I genuinely thought I could trust the experts. I'm very disappointed to have been hoodwinked by the propaganda of 2020. And I had to highlight that because praise God that there's people in this world that can humble themselves and say, I was wrong. You know, I owe you an apology for you trying to help me and I didn't listen. So praise God for that guy.
Look, you crazy mother. Put these on. Hey! Stay away from me! I'm telling you, you dumb son of a...
I'm trying to save you and your family's life. I'm giving you a choice. Either put on these glasses or start eating that trash can.
Not this year.
Put on the glasses. I'm sorry. Look! Look at him! They're everywhere! Hold on. You ain't the first son of a bitch to wake up out of their dream.
Look, you crazy mother. Put these on. Hey!
And that's how you feel when you're trying to wake up friends and family. Got one who can see. You can all see, can't you? They already know we can see. Don't worry about it. We can see, and they're blind, and they're like, they can see falseness. Let's, put them in a re-education camp so they can get blind like us again. But they think that we should be able to see from their perspective. It's just, there's two realities here. Okay. This guy goes off. There's a bunch of people going off about what was revealed yesterday. However, I'm not going to go off because in this clown upside down world, you're still not going to be able to talk about the hokey pokey. question is with this is, okay, they're calling these a joint military exercise. They've been calling some of them a nuclear exercise. So if this axis of evil, Iran, Russia, China, I think it was Iran and China, or not Iran, but Russia and China, the United States. I showed it the other day where they signed an agreement, for no nuclear last year. No one's going to go into nuclear war. We're not mad here. Well, there are mad people, so we don't know who's going to strike first or whatever, but Jesus could stop that and take us out of here. I'm just saying, like, that. I look forward to leaving, whether by nuke, by meteor, by death, by whatever. I'm ready to be with my Lord Jesus and out of this painful existence. It's suffering, and though I don't regret suffering for Christ, it isn't fun. And I would like to be just on a farm. Let's go on to this story, because this is where I would like to be. Not with the Amish, but a place like that. This is my
I'm Jeremy Lafredo for Rebel News in Birmingham, Pennsylvania at Miller's Organic Farm. Last month we told you the story of how Miller's Farm was raided by armed federal agents and economically crippled with hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines. Now, as the seasons change, Miller's Farm is going toe-to-toe with the federal government to protect himself and independent farmers all over the country.
My goal is to leave an example for the generations to come, so that future generations can farm like our grandfathers did. The way God wants us to be sustainable, without genetically modified seeds, without synthetic fertilizers. We just want to live off the land and take care of God's nature.
Amos Miller is an independent organic farmer in Birmingham, a remote Amish village in central Pennsylvania. The farm has everything: pasture-raised, grass-fed cattle to grass-fed raw dairy like yogurts, cheeses, and butters. The farm raises chickens, pigs, and even water buffalo. Everything is raised in pastures, without any pesticides, GMO feed, or synthetic hormones. It's these reasons, holistically grown organic meat and dairy, that people all over the country signed up to be a part of Miller's private food club.
I think they want to have the connection to the farm, and they see the actual practices being done on the farm, and they trust the way we do things. They educate themselves, and they truly believe that food from grass-fed cows, access to sunshine and fresh air does affect their overall health.
But unfortunately, this is also the reason that the federal government and all of its might is coming after him. Several months ago, Amos's farm was raided by armed federal agents, the U.S. Marshal Service. They're also trying to economically cripple the independent farmer with hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines. The government says that Amos must cease operations because he doesn't adhere to the USDA standards, the very reason that so many of Amos's customers get their food from him. Amos argues that U.S. government food regulations exist chiefly to strip small organic producers of their independence. They're also financially intensive, making it so only the large producers are able to afford and stay in business. By cutting the government out of his operations, he's effectively cutting out the middleman. The government siphons money out of these small farms through expensive, quote, user fees. The government is using a health and safety justification to come after Miller's farm. According to U.S. Representative Thomas Massey, it's instead corrupt financial incentives that are behind it. He explained correctly that Amos is still able to sell camel milk and water buffalo meat. Why? He said because there's no corporate camel milk lobby or industrial buffalo meat lobby embedded at the USDA or walking the halls of Congress with campaign checks. Meaning, even though he processes all sorts of animal meat and dairy at the farm, the USDA is only concerned about the way in which he raises and processes cattle, because they're funded by the animal-specific industry. More so, Amos and his customers argue that the USDA mandates food be processed and produced in ways that actually make the food less nutritious. Amos believes if they can bring down his operation under dubious reasoning and harmful regulations, other farmers will be next, putting the entire food system at stake of being transformed in the vision of the industry-backed government and WEF-aligned elites. Amos noted that over the past few years, more and more valuable independent farmers have been getting shut down by the government. Legally representing Amos is constitutional whiz and veteran lawyer Robert Barnes. Barnes explained to the Lancaster Patriot, a local newspaper in Amos's area, that, quote, "This is about power. Who has the power to choose what I eat, what I put into my own body? It's an extension of the vaccine mandate dispute. It's an extension of a range of controversies currently raging across the country about the Constitution and our laws and the role of the federal government in our lives. Next week, Rebel is going to sit down with Robert Barnes for an exclusive interview and discuss what this case means for independent farmers, food sovereignty, bodily autonomy, and freedom in general. Please go to leavethemalone.com, that's leavethemalone.com, and sign our petition, which I'll be personally delivering to the federal court where Amos's case resides.
For Rebel News and leavethemalone.com. How about that? Yes, leave them alone, and I petition Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God, to make a way for people to still get healthy food from farmers like this, and to help this guy through this, and help Robert Barnes, lawyer, to stop them from being able to put all these fines on these farmers, stopping us from eating healthy food. It's a crime against humanity, in my opinion. Alright, here is a wake-up call. This is what they have been putting us through.
Comes from China. That's why. Comes from China.
Oh. Did you see that guy spraying his cup right there? I was at the park one day, and this was towards the end of fall or summer last year, and he had 2 juices in a bag for his wife and him, and I was like, he was spraying like the crap out of it, like I was like, he's used like a third of the can or something. I was like, what are you doing? You know me, I have to ask. And he's like, oh, I'm spraying down my wife's and mine's drink. And I was like, oh, well, that was an awful lot of spray there. Like, he's like, yeah, we do it every day. I was like, well, I can't remember what I said now, but he was like, I was trying to wake him up. If you've not seen that, that's real, man.
China. That's why. Comes from China.
He's doing.
Okay, this is no joke. This is what people are doing. Fucking Jesus Christ.
Even. Not social distancing.
Put your mask on.
Get away from me.
Put it on.
For freedom. Stop it.
Whoa, whoa.
What is going on inside their head?
So this guy in Michigan came up with this idea.
6 feet apart. Oh yeah.
Extreme measures of self-isolation. It gets the point across.
Poor baby.
So you can wear it comfortably all day. Share your smile. Z-Shield wraps your face.
On prend une bouchée et on remet le masque. On prend une bouchée et on remet le masque.
Swimming. Dancing backwards.
Help us put the mask in mascot. You must wear your mask.
I shouldn't have to make it fun. It's science. It's science.
Isn't that just crazy? That's just so crazy. It ain't gonna end. I've seen people still wearing masks in their car by themselves. Like, what? I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. People are losing their brain. Oh man, this Stanley Kubrick, his daughter, I like how I don't know how they did this, but there's like 4 videos here. I listened to this one. It was good. I listened to that one.
I saw them turn up. I just thought, really? I saw them turn up. I just thought, really? It's going to come to this? We're talking about the First Amendment. Actually, I want to just say, there was a New Zealand TV lady that was there yesterday, and I stood behind her with my sign with the First Amendment. She said, "Don't stand there. You're blocking everything." And I said, "Well, I'm just stand back here." And anyway, we got into a little thing over it. And she didn't want me to be in the picture with her. And she said, "Look, I'm not having some lunatic stand behind me with a sign." I said, "Lunatic?" I said, "I'm defending the First Amendment." It's like the assumption that to be out here expressing yourself is an act of lunacy. I would say that's a pretty good indication of how totally distorted reality has become for the people who are supposed to be defending truth. I think the important thing that you've outlining here is that people have to learn how to confront evil and not to alter it or to lessen it and to somehow, go, well, I'm sure they didn't mean to push you. It's like, well, you need to face, you need to confront and really properly look at what's happening and not try and explain it away or give it justifications or anything, because at this juncture, we still, by our fingernails, have the chance to make a difference and turn this around, and to not take part and to just watch. It's a little scary, believe me. I was a little scared when those sheriffs turned up. But if you don't stand there and push back, not in a stupid, aggressive way, but if you don't push back, if you don't face it and confront it for what it is, it'll just take over and then no one will be free. But I think the important thing is it's an incredible degree of insanity, because only insanity would breed acts that are so destructive and harmful. And, when you think of the destruction of the animals and the environment and the corporations that just seem to gaily, stride forward through every decade, destroying everything, really insane. You have no grasp or care for what's going on. And I think that's...
We could make a long list, couldn't we, of the evils that are taking over. And it is important to confront it and put a face to it. Right here. A face to it. All these rich people, they're the ones running the show. It's not our governments. It's these people. These people from the bloodlines. They're the ones doing it. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, Bill Gates and crew, and Belzo, whatever his name, Bezos. That guy, the Amazon. I gotta call the bank. I need to be like, hey, everybody look at your bank account. Make sure you're not getting scammed by Amazon taking money out of your account. This is Israel. I think it was wasn't the Days of Awe, but it's some religious thing with the Muslims is at a peak or something right now, and they're in the West Bank. There's been a lot going on in Israel, but it's just this, sort of, I don't want to say same old, but they fight a lot over there. This girl, the people that are here for the abortion, they're losing it. They're losing it. They want to kill babies. And you're just gonna, this might be an example of demonic possession right here. They shake their heads, and I think they might be demon possessed. I'm not sure. But they still want to kill babies. And they're freaking out. This is in Brazil. Oh my gosh. Watch this. I heard a bang. People are losing it, man. I mean, if I showed you everything that I see on that, it just would take up my whole show. This one you should go watch. This one's worth a watch because Dr. Drew wakes up. Is some. But yeah, this lady, she was the one that had a fainting fit or something, Heather McDonald. He had her on the show. And so back in 2020, he was all for the hokey pokey. And now he's turned around. So, at least somewhat. So you should go watch Dr. Drew. Prime Minister comments on actions will echo through history. Will be judged very poorly by future generations. I believe he should be held accountable. All these people need to be held accountable. And there's just so much talk. This is the guy right here that would not come before the committee. His name is Albert Bourria. He should be arrested and charged with fraud. He is the CEO of Pfizer. He did not come to answer the questions of the committee. And everybody's talking about it. I can't talk about it on here. Not allowed. And are you ready?
Next, I have Ronnie Thurett. Sorry.
That's me.
Oh, goodness.
I'm Ronnie. How you guys doing? Hello, Council. My name is Ronnie the Rat. I'm a trans-species elementary school teacher here in Allen ISD, and I just want to try to bring more awareness for furries like myself. Now, I have the most students in my class that have actually transitioned from a human being to a cat. Now, I know I'm a rat, but that's more because I'm a Chuck E. Cheese, freak. I love Chuck E. Cheese. I've spent a lot of time there, but that's why I like rats. But this is the problem, is we have a lot of trans inclusivity in other cities like Frisco. They're doing pride parades at a lot of churches. We're not doing any pride parades at churches here in Allen. And that's what we need. We need more kids on gender reassignment surgery or gender reassignment hormones. And the best way, I think, for me, that it's gotten the message out to the other students is doing it myself, leading by example. And that's what I'm trying to do here as a trans species, as Ronnie the Rat, is like, listen, there's a social stigma. Me trying to date other furries like this in Allen, there's not a community. There's not a bar that accepts me, Chris. I can't just go to the bar like this. I get made fun of. And that's the same thing that's happened to my 9-year-olds, my 10-year-olds. If they feel more comfortable being a cat, I don't mind putting a litter box in the classroom that lets them defecate in there. That's what I think is important. And should I tell the parents? No, we shouldn't tell the parents. These kids can make decisions at 10 years old. Like, their parents shouldn't be involved. That's what makes me so mad, is I get all these parents that are mad at me because I oftentimes buy these costumes for these kids, and the kids go home in the costume, and the parents come back, and they yell at, scream at me, and they say, we don't want you to sexualize our children. They call me the G word, Groomer, which is basically like the N-word. And it's just a terrible description of who I am. I'm trying to help young kids be themselves. If they want to be a cat, if they want to defecate in a litter box, I'm all for that. I'm talking to the principal. I'm trying to get the cafeteria tables on the ground so that the kids are able to eat more ergonomically on fours like an animal. This is what we need to do. We need Allen to be more inclusive. Right now, we're suffering from a lot of bigotry. And so I'm Ronnie the Rapping Rat, so I want to end on a little rap. Yo, my name is Ronnie, I am a rat. If you talk crap, I'll get the gat. Get the booster, test it on 8 mice. I don't really care if you got lots of lice. I'm a pimp on a blimp, teaching my kids their gender. We can cut it off, throw it in a blender. Gender reassignment surgery is the key. It will set you free. Get a mastectomy. to me. I love when you cut it off. Then you can be the boss. I'm a teacher, not a preacher. God is fake. The earth evolved from pond scum. Two rocks smashed together. That's how we got here. Ronnie the Rat, don't grab the gat. I don't really care if you sit in the front or the back. The indoctrination is super strong. You can come to class in your little thong. I don't care what you say. Gotta vaccinate the straight, gotta vaccinate the gay. And that's what I'm sad. I'm sad that I was not one of the 8 mice that Dr. Anthony Fauci chose to test the booster on. So I have a lot of sorrow. I have a lot of things that I'm upset about. And I just want to bring awareness to Ronnie the Rappin' Rat. You guys can do this. We can get more kids to become trans species, and we can get more gender reassignment surgery for 9-year-olds. Thank you. Thank you guys very much. Primetime Stein on Instagram. Thank you guys.
This guy back here was going...
Okay. So the next...
okay. That's where it's headed, though, isn't it? Like, so super cuckoo land. I'm just saying, like, I like hearing what he says because it's so out there that it's idiocracy. I mean, that's where things are going. Is Norm here? Hey, Norm. Yeah, he's a He's a good comedian. I like that dry humor. That idiot's crazy. Lock him up. They probably will. They'll be like, you're causing too much of a, following. He's got a lot of followers. Because people think that the ridiculous is here. And he's even more ridiculous. So that's where it's headed. It's kind of a look into our future. What's this one? Oh, this was the West Bank. Israel. It was just perimeters, and they're just keeping a real close eye on the Muslims right now because it's some sort of rage day. That's what it is, rage day. All right, this is a B2 Spirit. It's a stealth. It's a stealth bomber for the first time in, I think, Poland or something, or Belarus. I like those things, but they can carry 16 cruise missiles with nuclear warheads. So they're pretty serious. Okay, here's a Karen. She quits her job because somebody's asking for their money back.
Oh my God, here, take $7. Here, you know what? I don't even care. Just take it all. Take it the fuck off. Here.
Good language. Good language.
I quit, lady.
Good language.
I quit. Somebody call Diane right now. I'm going to kill myself.
She's going to kill herself.
I'm done. I am done. I hope you're happy, lady.
I am.
Record this.
I am recording it. I am recording it.
Traffic right now. I'm going to kill myself. I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy.
Hope you're happy, lady.
Oh my God, here, take.
I'm going out into traffic, lady. You made me want to kill myself and quit my job over $7. Seriously, like, what did she say to you, girl? I mean, don't throw your life away for somebody that said something rude or demanded their money back. Just kind of learn to go with the flow. I mean, I'm worried about people because the answer is not to kill yourself. Come on. It's ridiculous. Like, that's what caused you to go over the edge? $7? I know it's emotional. You go through hormones when you're a teenager and everything, but just chill out. Don't worry. It's going to be okay. Somebody should have told you this, that when you get to be 20 or 18, when you graduate high school, everything changes. It's not well, there's still mean girls, but you have the option to get away from them now when you're out of high school. And if you go to work with one, you can quit your job, but definitely don't go kill yourself over somebody else. That they have a problem and they're treating you bad, then that's their problem. Don't take it on. It's not your fault. It's not your problem. Somebody probably burnt the girl's hamburger, or she didn't want the drink anymore. Or give her money back and keep your job. I mean, but I'll tell you what I couldn't handle if I worked somewhere is all these people starting fights in restaurants and in Walmart and all this stuff. Try to figure out the time of day to go and don't go at night. I mean, just be wise about when you go shopping and where you go shopping. Things are getting crazy. Okay, she goes over the bloodline of Klaus Schwab, which I'm not going to do. It's a minute and a half of wasted time. He's, part of the Illuminati or the crew. He broke the Bank of England. Did you know that? What's his name? Henry Kissinger? No. Was it Klaus Schwab that broke the Bank of England? Well, anyway, the Bank of England is telling people you have 3 days. This is a game or something.
Okay, guys. These eggs have given us a lot of trouble in the past.
Yeah, they're just playing a game. It's like I was playing this game. It's called Cooking Fever. And all of a sudden, the past 3 days, I've got maybe 20 minutes a day or something like that I just kind of cook things on the game and meet goals and stuff, and it's fun and you get diamonds or whatever. They start putting up all these advertisements 3 days ago. I'm like, I don't have time to sit there for 30 seconds in my 20-minute release and they're loud too. The commercials are super loud. And it's for other games, and I don't have time to play all those games. And it's just ruined it for me. But anyway, I don't need to be playing games anyway. I'm probably not going to do it anymore. So this Bank of England thing, I'm trying to figure out what it is because I'm not sure what they're doing. But if I were you, I mean, which I'm not, but I'm me. But if I had money, I probably wouldn't buy gold and silver. Just saying. I mean, I might have a tiny bit if I had a lot of money. Just a tiny bit, because it probably won't even do you any good. Cash probably isn't going to work out. It might for a little while, so it'd be good to have some extra cash. Digital currency probably is going to screw everyone over at some point. So if you're in it, just know when to get out of it. And there's all sorts of, there's over 3,000 cryptocurrencies. So I wouldn't even, I wouldn't trust myself to pick the right one. And as far as everything's going to crash. I'm just saying, there's going to be bad for a while because maybe it doesn't crash so much as to just suck you dry because everything's going up. And all the people that own these companies going from billions, where they were a billionaire, to from a 5 billionaire to a 15 billionaire in a year or two. So they've quadrupled their money or something because we're all paying so much more than we were paying before. So they're just getting rich. These rich people are getting richer. And they're feeling like they're invincible and they're gonna, be like the gods. And they're using all this energy to do their CERN thing where they want the god that they serve to be able to come through the firmament and be part of their lives, because he has all the answers. But we have to open up this portal, which needs energy. That's my opinion, why they need all this extra energy. So they're going to squeeze us. They're going to use their energy for the reason they want to do it. And they want to get rid of a bunch of us. They want to depopulate, which they're doing. I mean, there was I can't even talk about it. I can't even talk about what they're doing. They're hokey pokeying people. And you think about hokey pokey, the hocus pocus, it's whenever you have chemists and that, they're doing a brew. You know what I mean? They're making a brew of this and that chemical, and they're mixing like a witch. It's pharmakia, it's witchcraft. The Bible says so. So I don't want anything to do with any of it. Now, Japan has not had anyone trading these 10-year government bonds for 3 whole days. Something could seriously be getting ready to crash. And I don't know what they're talking about with the Bank of England. You have 3 days to sell all the... Something I never heard of. Let me find out what it says. You guys might know what it is. It starts with a G. After doubling down on its pension fund bailout scheme, Bo E's Bailey spoke in Washington this afternoon, initially warning that the market volatility went beyond bank stress tests, which is scary. Then reinforcing that there is a serious risk to the UK financial system stability, noting the buying program is temporary. But the piece de resistance was his reminding the market that BOE will be out by the end of the week, adding a simple threat. What does the BOE governor expect global markets to do now? Knowing that this is a serious risk to financial system stability and more stressful than bank stress tests, what would you do with your investments? Our tweet says it all, roughly translated. You have 3 days to sell everything. So I'm dumb about this stuff, but it looks... Gilts, that's what it's called. Gilts. Gilts and linkers. The Bank of England doubled down on the booze at the pension fund bailout party this morning, adding inflation-linked debt to its purchases to stabilize the market after a record surge in yields on Monday. But no one turned up, as gilts and linkers both saw yields higher despite billions in buying promised. Oh, by the way, I couldn't get my chicken cage door that the tree tore down. But I mean, I'm thankful that the door is completely smashed, because I think it saved my daughter's life. And we had just read Job, where Job's children, they get killed in the storm. The tree, she was in a bunk bed, like with her face like 4 inches from the ceiling, and the tree hit that fence door, that cage door, and it's pretty thick metal. It's like, like this big. The door parts are like that big around, so it's like pretty thick metal. It smashed it, and then it caved in the eave of the roof, but it didn't go through the ceiling. Praise God. You know what I just thought of? When she was a little girl, in both houses, she saw Jesus's foot sticking through the doorway, where her door is. Like, say this is her door, on the inside of the door in the ceiling, the foot was right coming through the ceiling. I just thought of that. She said he had on sandals, and I said, could you draw it for me? And she drew the sandal and the ties, that crossed. It crossed 3 times. The sandal did. Up, it was like a high, like an ankle. It had like an ankle part. It went up high on his foot. And so, Anyway, I just thought of that. Let me see what you guys are talking about. Mississippi River is dry now. Is dry. Wow. Hey, Sacred Serbian, how you doing? Oh, enemy working hard today. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the news today. Are you talking about your own life? Like enemies working hard? Let me just pray over you guys in the chat room. Lord, I know the enemy's working hard in all of our lives, and he wants to divide us. He wants to separate us. He wants us to be alone, and he wants us to be sad. And I ask you, Lord, to give us joy and help us to sing or dance or clap or lift you up, Lord, because this is all about you and your purposes. And I just ask you, Lord, I plead the blood of Jesus over everybody in the chat room today, that you'll enrich their lives, Lord, with your purposes and ideas of what they need to be doing in these last days for you, Jesus. And just lift them up. Make them see what you want them to do, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen. We'll just keep our eyes on him, right? Every day. Oh, you're so sweet, Apple. Apple said she could watch me all day. Not great for me. I should be celebrating, but I've been hit so bad by what is good today doesn't feel good enough. Oh, I'm sorry. Some days are like that. Some days you're just like, I just want to go back to bed. You'll be okay, Serbian. You do have Jesus, right? We're in very interesting times. I recall asking. Oh, it's VE3 fall. Hey, I can call you Fred. Okay. Hey, Fred. Very interesting times. I recall asking why parents growing up after World War II if they were still nervous about war. Answer was yes, and more so during the Cold War. Yeah, like my parents, they had to get up under the tables and stuff when they were in school, under the school tables in case there was nuclear war. And if things are at that point right now, because they're talking about nuclear war, and they're like ordering pills for iodine or iodide, whatever. I think it's iodine. The stuff they put in salt, because you need that in your body, but you need the absorbable kind. I get the X2 from Alex Jones, but they're ordering all these pills for radiation sickness. It's not for prevention of. Okay, so if a nuclear blast happens and you're getting radiated, you need to already have had that thyroid full of the iodine. You can get it from seaweed. I can't remember what else. There's some other things you can get it naturally, but everybody is deficient in it. So it'd be good to get some, and it is on sale right now with Alex Jones. I wouldn't have it any other way now. I've got used to the taste of it, and I kind of like it. I feel like, yeah, I'm taking care of myself with that stuff. And if you have any age spots, there's been a couple people call in, and they're like, I used to have age spots, and ever since I took that X2, now he sells X3 now, but I'd get the X2 if I were you. They've got rid of their age spots. So that's exciting. Hey, Midday. I like your M&M. Hide out for the rest of your life. I'm not hiding out. I probably should hide out more. Oh man, if I can tell you what I learned yesterday. Oh, you don't have any idea how tempted I am to go stand somewhere with a sign and let everybody know who moved into my town. You couldn't sleep last night, huh? Oh. I think Midday said he had a hard time sleeping last night. I got me a extractor, a honey extractor. So that was fun. It's a pretty big barrel. It's pretty heavy. If nukes hit, we're toast. I laugh about it, Serbian. I'm not worried. I'm not scared. I'm more scared of just like this slow process of suffering. You know, like, oh, I can't afford to get chicken or, you know, turkey. I mean, look how much turkeys cost last year at Thanksgiving. By the way, when you buy your turkey next month, if you're in the United States, now Canada just had their Thanksgiving. But if you buy a turkey, if you buy it frozen, you can get it for a lot less. If you buy it all fresh and everything and you wait till the last minute, you're going to pay probably twice as much, which last year was a freaking big deal. They were really expensive last year. We got us one of those ice boxes, you know. I've really been blessed to be able to get things discounted. There's just, the Lord has allowed me to have things discounted because of, you know, scratch and dent and all that stuff, or my neighbor passing away, and you know, they wanted us to just come and get it, and I think we paid $50 or something. It's a nice big, it's not super new or anything, but it's a nice freezer. But I mean, in the future, are we going to even be able to afford the electricity to run the thing? But it'd be good to have like meats and things while they're cheap to buy extra, and you could put it in. But then how much are you paying for electricity? So you got to weigh out these things, and pretty soon, let's see, what was it? Electricity for the winter, if you have gas, look for it to go up 17%. It's like 20%. So I don't have a calculator, but say your bill is normally $200 and it goes up 20%. I'm not very good at math right now, especially with my brain racing. What's next? Somebody tell me what 20% would. Just say 20% of $200 a month, which that's pretty low for the middle of winter, but probably I'm gonna guess like an extra $50 or something. So instead of 200, it'd be like 250 or something. That's a lot more. But people that can afford that, they'll be okay. But what if it went up 50%? What if it was twice as much? That would be $400. So, I don't know. I can't afford a $400, $500 bill every month. No way. So I don't know, midday, like you might have noticed, I don't know how cold it got last night, but I turned the air down a bit so that I wouldn't have as much for our heating bill. $240, he said. Yeah. Jesus, with Jesus in our hearts, we can do anything. Amen, Shadow Feather. All things are possible. Counting our blessings would be ideal for peace of mind. Yes, Apple. Yes. Talk about what you're thankful for and try not to complain about the things that we want but we don't have. But Jesus will meet our needs. He'll meet our needs. Or take us out if we need that. So I got stuck on this whole financial thing because it's a stress, man. I mean, especially with people who've been losing their jobs for not doing certain things to their arm. This is saying shipping rates are plunging 75% as U.S. retail demands falter. So I kind of had a little bit of a brain issue with this one. Are they saying that the shipping rates are going down 75%? Let's find out. The problem with price inflation is that it often makes it impossible to track the true health of consumer demand. For example, okay, yeah, so the demand is way down. People are like, I can't afford that. And they stop buying things. So that, I guess that would cause it to plunge. Because people have stopped buying things now. Walmart reported a jump in August of its overall sales, but also a decline in profits. How is this possible? Spiking inflation in most goods means people have to pay more for the same amount of stuff they usually buy, but Walmart also has to deal with higher wholesale prices and declining customer purchases as people start to make cuts in their retail budgets. In other words, inflation makes it seem like sales are increasing when in reality profits are plummeting. Another way to track actual retail performance without price inflation obscuring reality is to examine shipping volume and shipping rates. In the summer, import volumes to the U.S. began dropping off a cliff, indicating that consumer demand was indeed being affected by inflation or stagflation. Now, trans-Pacific shipping rates have also plunged at least 75%. Shipping companies are reporting that empty cargo containers are becoming frequent in freight to the U.S., with companies scrambling to adjust after 2 years of boats overflowing with goods. So, all I know is everything's still way high. That's what I know. And I'm not getting my stuff. Like, I've ordered a few different things that never came. Oh, we gave you your money back. Thanks a lot. I mean, but still, thanks for giving me my money back because you didn't have the product. But, yeah, I hope that chicken door comes because it keeps out predators and I could lose my chickens. This is a high time for predators. We got an owl that's got babies like right over in a tree real close to the I bet you them little chickens, they'll end up being 1 or 2 or something that they feed to their baby owls. Okay, this atheist, I mean, I think all atheists really haven't thought it through, but at least she's asking questions, and I really don't want to hear her because she's just, it's annoying, man, that they don't get it. Jesus died for everybody, and just, you know, if you don't believe that Jesus came and died for you, then you've made your decision. And I can't stop that with atheists. You have to be hungry. You have to want to know something to benefit from wisdom. You know, wisdom is something you have to hunger for. People just want to, you know, put down God's word and try to pull us out of being a Christian. Like call us crazy or stupid or whatever. Do what you want. I got Jesus and that's all I need. This one I can't talk about. This one I can't talk about. This one I can't talk about. There's all this good stuff though on the internet if you go look. I can't talk about that. Circle, circle, circle. Checky, checky, checky. Can't talk about it. So something's going to happen in 3 days where they got to sell everything. I don't know what that means with that banking. Okay, this guy here is called the General of Armageddon. Russians have been creating a personality cult around war criminal Surovikin. That's his name. His nickname is General Armageddon. This unhinged lunatic is the mastermind behind the ongoing bombardment of Kiev. NATO's intervention is the only way this monster can be stopped. Yeah, Zelensky's calling for us to nuke Russia before Russia nukes them. And then they're saying, this guy's in charge, you better go nuke him. Well, I hope no nukes start up, because that's MAD, mad. It's an actual thing that they named mad because you'd have to be mad in order to start nuclear war. Because once you push the button, all these other countries are supposed to be immediately pushing their buttons. Okay, this is a Karen girl.
I want to refund my drink. Take it from me. Take my drink. I don't want it. It was like $3. I don't want the fucking drink! What the fuck? Oh my god. Like, I'm sitting here pregnant, arguing with ignorant people. Because I don't want my drink and you couldn't give it. I'm a refund.
Oh, that's on mob.
Oh my god. What country is this? I don't know. You don't even know. You don't even know where I fucking live. I'm looking at
There's been so much violence and people are just on the edge. She's pregnant, so her hormones are out of place, and she barely probably could pay for her meal, and then they want to charge her $3 for a drink. I mean, that's ridiculous. But instead of that, I would just say, do you have a small cup of, that I could have for free, that I could get some water? Because usually those drink places where you go fill your own cup up, they have a thing with clear water, filtered water that you can get for free. So if she's pregnant, she shouldn't be drinking soda anyway, or tea with caffeine. She should drink water. So look at this newspaper. I'm not allowed to talk about it, but look at that newspaper. Let me read what you guys are saying. If times are dark, Jesus will be with you against any evil in the world. Amen. Yeah, economics is confusing because, like, today I was thinking, which I've had this question all my life. I mean, I don't understand the lobbyists. They need to get rid of them, in my opinion. There shouldn't be lobbyists. But giving billions of dollars to Ukraine, how are we doing that if we're negative trillions in debt? Who's gonna buy our trillions in debt? Well, how are you paying billions to a country that's not even part of NATO with money that you shouldn't have? It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I know this one owes that one and this one. How they keep track of all that? And what happens? What's the limit? And they're like, oh, we can just keep printing money. Like, oh, we're going to be Venezuela before long. And that's happening. That's happening in Europe. It's going to happen here. And we're on the train right now. We are sliding down a slide and we're like coming to the end, after you go around that wheelie part, you go in a circle and you're going down the slide, and then there's that straight part, that part where you're just to the bottom. That's where I think we're at. We've already gone down the curlies and now we're sliding down that last part. We can see the end of the tunnel is like hell, and we're just sliding right into it. Wars and nuclear attacks, dead fish. How do you think these things are dying? Do you think anything about the experiments they're doing in the water? This is off the coast of New Zealand. pilot whales. So I don't want to read all that. There's so many dead animals. It's insane. This was Nikopol. Someone was hearing bombs. This was yesterday, I think. Children, you know, having to hear bombs hitting. Yeah, that was 22 hours ago. Look at this one. This is insane. I don't know if that's where they stop them from hitting maybe a defense, or if those are just like raining down fire. I don't know. It's pretty far away. I'm gonna watch this later. I don't even know what it's about. Mercury and Venus disprove the heliocentric model. I was gonna watch it. See if I can understand. Palestinian gunman killed an Israeli soldier in the West Bank yesterday. This was the long version, I think. Let me look. Yeah, this is the long version. If anybody wants that, I can give it to them. Just, hit me up in the chat room or on Discord and I'll give it to you. It's of the whole Pfizer committee asking questions and things to the there was one woman that showed up and they got a lot from her, and then there's a shorter version and this guy goes into it a bit. But this guy, he did so good. And here's the whole committee. I'm not going to play it because it's not the WHO. It's the European Union Committee for asking Pfizer questions. I'm trying to see. The European Parliament. They were asking... This committee was asking questions in front of the European Parliament, and there was one lady from Pfizer there, but the main guy, the CEO of Pfizer, he did not show up. These guys here, plus 255,000 illegal border crossers are getting smartphones issued by ICE. $89.5 million a year are going to buy smartphones for the illegals. I'm just like, who made that decision, man? NASA spaceship successfully deflected an asteroid and saved Earth. That's their point of view from that. I think that was the last one I really had. Here's another article on it, and this is the last thing I have, you guys. So I just want to make one little point about this. I forget how big it was. It was big, like 500 feet big or something. If that thing comes back around, sorry, I dropped my mouse again. If that thing comes back around and hits the sun and the moon during the Great Tribulation, they're going to feel like real idiots, aren't they? For deflecting an asteroid. They're like, oh, we know better than God. We're going to slam a satellite into it and knock it off its orbit. And when it comes back around... They're calling it a future killer rock. Right here. Killer rock. Could be nudged out of Earth's way. What about in Earth's way? You think you guys know so much to not... What if... You don't know what space is. You don't know what waves of energy are capable of and how God has put that all together. I'm telling you, I think that most of the things that happen bad on this earth, well, it should be everything. But I know there are volcanoes and there are tsunamis. There's things that are natural. But in the time that we're living in today, you've got Russia can make with that torpedo, that Poseidon can make a tsunami with those torpedoes. You've got them deflecting rocks in space, which could come back on our head. You got satellites they're putting up there, which fall down all the time, that could fall down on our head. You got witch's brews causing injury, more injury than good. You got GMOs and things being put in our food, fluoride being put in our water. That's just to name like one or two things. There's like thousands of these chemicals they're spraying on us, putting in our food, putting in our water, like nano stuff that we're now breathing in, and they're wanting to inject this stuff and put it in our lettuce and stuff, like vaccines in the food. They're growing vaccines for us to eat. Like, I mean, I've heard of all kinds of weird stuff, like Mountain Dew or like Pepsi with the baby parts or something, like you're eating babies when you drink stuff. I don't know, they put stuff in makeup, baby parts and stuff in makeup, baby parts in the vaccines. I mean, you think God intended for us to put hormones and stuff in the cows that we're supposed to drink that stuff? I mean, that guy, I want you guys to pray for that guy on that farm, Famous Amos, okay? I don't know, famous Amos Miller, I think was his name. Just pray for Famous Amos, okay? That God will use Robert Barnes, the attorney, to stop them from being able to hurt that guy's farm, because if they can do it to him, they can do it to many more. And they did it to the Bundys, trying to make them get off their land for the way the water went through their land or something. So just all these food processing plants having to close down, or they get hit by a plane or catch on fire. Like, there's a war against what they want us to eat. They want us to eat bugs, which has poison in it. There's like some sort of stuff that bugs have that you're not supposed to eat. You're not supposed to eat bugs. Thanks for listening to me. I went on and on today. Hey, Nick. I'm sure Midday appreciates you giving my voice an ear so he doesn't have to hear me. A month away, yeah. Start planning your thankful dinner now so that you can have family over and be thinking of what you're thankful for. That's always good, isn't it? Be thinking of what you're thankful for. Maybe we'll do some sort of Thanksgiving fun game where we all say what we're thankful for in the chat room. Just be thinking about it. All right. Well, I love you guys. Thanks for coming. Thank you, mods, for making the chat room stay smooth. And I love you all. God bless you. Thanks for coming. Let's see if I can find the button. Well, that's not it. Looks like it, but